Well, thank you all for coming. I'm going to jump right into the presentation. As soon as I can get it to move in the right direction. So it's been said that necessity is the mother of invention. Certainly in my lifetime, necessity has driven innovation farther than I ever could have imagined. Looking back at the internal combustion engine, the requirement to be faster and more productive and lower cost than the horse and buggy resulted in technology that is still crucial to our everyday lives. But how are we achieving all that we can? Is necessity driving more unexpected and unforeseen innovation? In our industry, the landscape of on-site power is evolving to include microgrids, energy storage, renewable energy sources like wind and power, and hybrid systems. Our dependence on power and the results of its disruption were made painfully clear during the multiple natural disasters of 2017. We at HOTSTART are asking ourselves, what is the future of distributed energy? And how can we continue to bring the heat, both figuratively and literally, to genset reliability? For some historic perspective, let's look back again at the internal combustion engine and some innovation that resulted from that invention. People figured out pretty quickly that preheating the engine was a big help to startability, especially in cold temperatures. One method was to utilize the Bunsen automotor heater. Its use was pretty simple. Just fill it with kerosene, light it, and place it under the engine, or hang it in the engine compartment. I'm not sure if this is a soup can or built for purpose. But it was a very simple device by today's standards. Crude. And actually heating an engine from the outside isn't very efficient. Electrical engine preheating was invented not long after the engine itself, actually. But in 1912, when this heater's patent was awarded, the lack of available electricity, widespread available electricity, meant that its engine heaters, electrified engine heaters, wouldn't become commonly used until about the time of World War II, when the HOTSTART patent was awarded. Operators of fleet vehicles were early adopters. Plugging in your Kim HOTSTART heater meant that the engine in your bus or delivery vehicle was warmed, ready to start and operate in the morning. Preheating the fluids was a game changer for diesel-fueled vehicles and eventually backup generators. Larger systems with the power to provide emergency backup to hospitals and other emergency facilities also required larger and more powerful heaters. Continuous heating keeps standby generators ready. Not only is the coolant warmed, but often the lube oil, starting batteries, fuel, DEF fluid, and often the alternator are warmed as well. Heating systems are crucial to back up power stability. 10 seconds during an emergency can make all the difference. That timing is governed by NFPA 110. Heating an engine is simple. Just utilize physics. Heat coolant will rise from the heater, make its way up into the engine block or head, and work its way through the jacket water system and find its way back to the heater to complete the loop. Utilizing this passive or convective type circulation has its limitations though. It's very difficult to evenly heat larger engines, especially V-type engines, as opposed to inline. And the high outlet temperatures have the potential to drive heat away from the engine where it's needed, and also prematurely age hoses and seals. So we ask ourselves, what can we do to decrease the cost of operation and increase performance at the same time? Well, the simple answer is just to add a pump. Continuous circulation eliminates hot spots, provides even heat throughout the engine, no matter what size or configuration, increases efficiency and decreases maintenance. The lower energy cost or consumption and lower maintenance result in more money staying in the pockets of the end users. Another really good thing to do is to take advantage of manufacturer-provided installation training and certification. Of course, we all know stopping issues before they ever happen is the best way to deal with problems. So what about the future, though? Are we going to embrace change or be left behind? Kind of like these castle defenders, utilizing an alternate source of power to defend themselves. We, HOTSTART, consider ourselves really good at accommodating changing customer requirements within our traditional product lines. But how about when a new technology expands the scope of an industry and challenges or changes the status quo? The desire to utilize renewable energy sources is becoming more and more economically viable. Thinking back 20 years, the cost of powering our homes and businesses with solar power represented a significant obstacle. That reality is much different today. Microgrids, renewable energy sources like wind and power, new and elaborate control schemes, energy storage, are all changing the paradigm of how on-site power is delivered. Notice that the generator is still in that mix and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. What does it mean to maintain the readiness of that generator in these new configurations? How do we think beyond the traditional grid to maintain the temperature of a genset? How about harnessing the power of the sun? Is it possible to use electricity generated by solar panels as supplemental or main power for a heater? Here's an engine temperature profile taken during 3 days of testing last fall. Our team put together a heater that incorporated both DC solar power input and conventional AC power input. And as you can see, during the day, as a result of the solar power, the temperature of the engine rose significantly. And as the sun went down, the thermal mass of the engine eventually cooled, and the conventional power took over to maintain the engine readiness. This configuration proved that the heater was very capable of maintaining the engine's capability to operate, and depending on solar abundance, could potentially significantly reduce the demand of grid power. Now how about hybridization? Certainly hybrid vehicles, hybrid ships even, are common. The combination of a genset, shown on the lower left, and a battery unit, shown in the center, is available as well. And the type of hybrid I'm talking about is where the genset supports the battery bank, and the battery is the primary source of power. What would preheating look like for this configuration? Does the genset need heated 24/7, like a conventional standby generator? Or is it possible to only preheat the engine in preparation of a restart cycle to charge the batteries? Think of it a bit like an on-demand hot water heater, where the heater only operates when needed. And in this case, actually, a known interval time before the operation of the generator. And another thing that excites me about these hybrid setups is the capability of the battery bank to accept a charge from multiple sources. In this case, solar. The combination of the on-demand generator and the low cost of operation of a solar panel bank represents a significant opportunity to save power, energy, and lower the cost of operation. So I've talked a little bit about some engine heater history, some current configurations, and a couple of concepts to think about. Getting back to necessity. A future of on-site power is evolving quickly. We must evolve with the industry just as fast. In just one generation, the industry could be much different. Consider that just a few weeks ago we spoke to an energy storage expert that predicted within 10 years microgrids would become widely adopted. Considering the size of the grid, that seems like a pretty enormous obstacle. But as a company, we're preparing to evolve with the industry and ask ourselves, how can we innovate and continue to bring the heat to on-site power? I invite you to do the same. Thank you.